What Frank Vogel said last night is that he hadn't heard. Well, he's heard it now. That headline is dated. Frank Vogel has been fired. He has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. He found out the way the rest of us found out, which is from a Woj tweet, which came out while the Lakers were beating the Nuggets in overtime in the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that
man,
the Lakers fired Frank Vogel after 3 seasons and a championship in 2020. They fired him, but the Lakers have been getting roasted today. People have been lighting the Lakers on fire, and rightfully so, today. Because this is what I was talking about, Michael, last week. And really, it's all season since we've been talking about Frank Vogel's hot seat. We knew this day was going to come.
right?
And I still don't understand why anybody with options would choose this franchise. I don't get why anybody that's worth a damn as a coach at this point, seeing the state of the Los Angeles Lakers and seeing how the Lakers just treated Frank Vogel on the way out the door, seeing all the cooks in the kitchen that when you can't make chicken salad out of their chicken, you got to be the fall guy. Why would anybody want this job that has options? Unless you're just sitting at home unemployed and dying to coach, or unless you're somebody that's young looking for a shot and will go ahead and take this guaranteed money that they'll give you for about 3 years if they're feeling generous. Because on top of everything, they tend to be cheap when it comes to coaches. Why would anybody want this job? I saw the report today from Shams that the Lakers are targeting Nick Nurse.
Right.
Why on earth would Nick Nurse even entertain the idea of leaving Masai Ujiri and the Toronto Raptors, who may completely ruin everybody's parade, piss on everybody's parade in the playoffs, the way they look right now and the way they built for the long term? Why would Nick Nurse entertain the Los Angeles Lakers? We talked about it last week. Why would Doc Rivers, I don't care how much he may be butting heads with James Harden behind the scenes, allegedly, why would Doc Rivers leave Philadelphia, even if he is pushed out, and choose the Lakers' dysfunction? Why would Quinn Snyder leave Utah and say, you know what I want to do?
Okay.
I want to go to the Lakers. Why? Because all their banners? Because of all the jerseys retirement? I'm not trying to go to an organization where Kurt Rambis and Rob Pelinka are coming in to the coaches' meetings telling you who should play. I'm not going into an organization that sets its head coaches up to fail. No, thank you.
Well, I think, with all respect, I think they do that. They did that because it was Frank Vogel. You know, so you talk about the guys with options. So Nick Nurse is not going to let that happen. Quinn Snyder's not going to let that happen. Doc Rivers is not going to let that happen. They took advantage of the fact that Frank Vogel was hired on their terms, not his. They gave him an extension, a 1-year extension, which is, you might as well not extend me at all, a 1-year extension. They never really they didn't treat him with the respect that a veteran coach deserves. And so they treated him like he was their 2nd or 3rd or 5th option. And that was,
he was.
They treated him.
And I think that's a big assumption on your part
that
they would be different with somebody else. I think that's a big assumption.
Well, no. They wouldn't want to be different with somebody else. But if you've got options, I'm going by your language. You said, why would somebody with options pick the Lakers? I'll tell you a couple of reasons. Just in general, I'm not necessarily talking about these guys in particular, but I would say 2 big reasons: money and ego. Money and ego. And ego meaning I can fix him. Oh, that ain't gonna happen with me. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm gonna tell Rob Pelinka something.
They could turn the Lakers into a housewife. Is what you're saying?
I'm gonna tell that's right. I'm gonna tell Jeannie Buss something. And Kurt Rambis. Okay. No. Check my resume, Kurt. Check my resume. I've seen your coaching resume. Now look at mine. You're not on my level. So you can sit there quietly in my meeting, talk to me nicely, but you can't come into my meetings and tell me what to do. Look, I think a lot of times we kind of underestimate the role of money in pro sports. Generally, folks like us say, man, they got enough money. You start counting other people's money for you. I don't care how rich you are. If the average coach makes $6 million and they're offering you 12, if the average one makes 10 and they're offering you 15, it makes a big difference even for rich people. So the money of the Lakers cannot be dismissed, especially as you put it. Now, you put it very well, coaches with options. So coaches with options have leverage. So if you want me to coach the Lakers and I see how dysfunctional you are, you're going to have to pay for it. And it's not just the length of contract, it's going to be zeros on that contract. So I'll do that. I'm going to make some demands if you want me to coach the Lakers. Once again, I got options. If you want me to coach, there are certain things that aren't going to go down the way that you used to, that you're used to them going with Frank Vogel and Mike Brown and other coaches. No, I'm different. So if you got Doc Rivers coming in there or Nick Nurse, both guys who have won championships, yeah, I think they would demand something a little bit different. I take it though.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck with that.
Still,
which is surprising.
It's still an iconic franchise. It's still an iconic franchise. No matter what you say, no matter how down they've been, missed the playoffs 7 times in the last dozen years, all that stuff. It's an iconic franchise, and winning in Los Angeles is special. It is special. It's more nice. It's more nice. Hey, look.
I'm shocked to hear Michael Holley would take it, given how Michael Holley feels about Anthony Davis. I'm shocked that you would take it because, I mean, you can't count on him, right?
Well, wait a minute. Well, hold on. We're talking about
unless you plan on trading him.
I was going to say, now you're talking about roster construction. I'm just talking about the job. Do I take that job and do I have an opportunity to weigh in on what happens next? Anthony Davis, I'm not saying I would automatically trade him, but I certainly listen. I'd like to see what my options are.
I'm shocked that you wouldn't automatically trade him. Just talking about Michael Holley. But the problem with the Lakers is no matter how far they fall, there's nowhere to go but down. Because they still see themselves as that iconic franchise. The only difference in the Lakers, they're not. From a historic standpoint, sure. No different than the Celtics. But listen, you were around the Celtics in some mighty lean years, okay?
Yes.
And those banners and that history and all those championships and those retired numbers and those statues, that and 10 cents will get you a cup of coffee today. And the only difference between the Lakers now and the Lakers over the last really decade, for the most part, is that finally a marquee free agent chose them. And that guy just so happens to be the franchise changer known as LeBron James. LeBron James chose the Lakers. He took the Lakers pitch when everybody else was passing it all those years in free agency. When they kept swinging and missing all that history and all that prestige and all that marquee and all that Hollywood got them nobody in free agency. Nobody wanted the Lakers' money because guess what? There's money in a lot of places until LeBron. LeBron said yes, brought Anthony Davis with him, brought him a championship. But the dysfunction never went anywhere. Somebody just decided to sign up for the quick fix. So a marquee coach like a Nick Nurse, like a Doc Rivers, like a Quinn Snyder, all right, let's presume that the organization, based on what they're paying, and I get that logic, because they're going to pay you, 10 figures. They're going to pay you, 10 million plus to coach, even though Nick Nurse makes 8 right now. If they're going to pay you, it stands to reason that they're going to acquiesce to your way of doing things. They're not going to pay you and then decide to undermine you. They'll get out of the way because maybe you come with certain personnel authority or certain things got to change around here if you're going to take their $10 million. Okay, let's presume that that's the case. They'll still eat that $10 million the moment the team doesn't win overnight or just like that. Okay? That's my issue with it more than anything. So let's say you're right. Let's say they will give Doc Rivers a level of authority and autonomy that they would not give Frank Vogel. He can get fired just like the rest of them. At a certain point, it ain't the coaches. When they're cycling through coaches over and over again, it ain't the coaches, it's the culture. And that culture around that organization is one of entitlement to titles. They're not patient. They don't respect coaches. That's their history. As much as anything, is they don't value coaches. They value star players. So even if you are a coach with options and you decide to choose the Lakers, you can get fired just like the rest of them when they get impatient and have to find somebody to blame for it.
Well, hey, get fired and I'm going to make you pay for it, okay? You'll pay for it if you choose to do that.
If that's what you're in it for, if it's a money grab.
Hey, But stop. Don't say money grab. Like all these jobs pay. So it ain't a money grab. It's market value. Okay, if I'm going to do, it's just like it's a value proposition. All right. So Toronto versus Los Angeles. Toronto's future versus Los Angeles' future. All right. So let me just weigh this. In Toronto, I'll take my $8 million, and I know what's coming. In Los Angeles, this is what it's going to cost you. Now, if I get fired, at least I have this. It's not the sole reason, but I get paid for a reason. I have value. So I'm not going to say, I'm not going to put any negative spin on somebody looking at the money and figuring out if it works for them. Just like any other profession.
I don't think a respectable coach is going to do that. First of all, there were a lot of coaches that wouldn't take the terms that they offered to begin with, which is why they ended up with Frank Vogel, right? Okay, both Ty Lue and Monty Williams said thanks but no thanks to all your prestige if all you're offering is a 3-year contract.
Make it plain for me, preacher. Make it plain. I'm confused on that one. Make it plain.
On what part?
A respectable coach is not going to look at the value of taking the Los Angeles job versus the job that they already have, pros and cons. Why not?
A respectable coach, a coach that's worth a damn, is not going to just go to the Lakers because they're paying him $2 million more when he has an opportunity to be successful somewhere else. Like, this ain't the 80s no more, man. The Lakers are still a marquee franchise, but they're not the only place where you can be successful. They're the only place where you can achieve notoriety. Wow. They're the only place where you can achieve fame. Okay? It's not New York, LA, and everybody else. Like, we're in the age of the internet and social media. That day is dead, dog. We don't roll like that no more.
Right.
So I don't think a coach that's worth a damn is going to say, okay, fine, $4 million. Okay, put it this way. I'll speak from personal experience, if I may.
It's not just the money. It's not just the money. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'll speak from personal experience, which is strictly that I've gotten big raises before. And pretty soon, after a while, after the newness of that money wears off, and then the rest of the stuff you got to deal with that came with that money starts to bubble to the surface, you forget how much more money you're making. Like, money cannot buy money. If it was about money and market, then the Lakers will be winning championships every year. Ain't about that. It's about their culture is not conducive to winning. Full stop. And unless and until that changes, I don't think a coach the caliber of Doc Rivers or Nick Nurse or Quinn Snyder is going to be so blown away by the Laker mystique that they'll say, well, at least I'm getting paid for it. I think they're going to want to go somewhere where they can actually win and get paid.
Well, look, any Nick Nurse could be fired now in Toronto too. Any coach could be fired. So you go in knowing that that's just the nature of the beast. But it's not just money. It's not just more money. It's money, and because you've been recruited, you've been selected, you have some power early in that recruitment that you may not have 3 years in or even 2 years in. So if you're Doc Rivers going in, you've changed cultures before, you've gone to bad situations before, and you've had a say, and they've had to listen to you. Now, some coaches, I don't know. I don't know if they're giving up any titles, but maybe it's a condition that they have to. Maybe you hold the mirror up to them and say, "This is what I see from your culture. Are you willing to change it?" So if you're a coach, say, "Yeah, I want to be the head coach, and I want some front office power too." Or I want to be the head coach, but I don't want Rob Pelinka to be here. I want to be a head coach, but I don't need all these. I don't need all these consultants.
So that's a variable. I appreciate you introducing that variable. If that happens, then okay, that's different. I think that's where we disagree. I don't see that happening. I don't see them removing the Magic Johnson, the Kurt Rambis, the Linda Rambis, the Rob Pelinka. I don't foresee them removing all of that under the guise of trading for Nick Nurse, which requires draft compensation that they can't afford to give up, or somehow getting Doc Rivers. Right. I don't see them removing all the things that they're so set. They're old and set in their ways. You know who else is old and set in his ways? LeBron James. I ain't trying to hear me clearly. I ain't trying to coach LeBron James at this point. I don't want to be bothered with LeBron James at 37 years old because he's been high maintenance. He's been high maintenance at every stop. I ain't trying to I'm not trying to go into a job where I'm on LeBron James and Clutch Sports' time frame when it comes to personnel decisions or when it comes to the long-term future of this team. Because LeBron James would have been got that 27 and 29 pickup out of there if it was left up to him. LeBron James is why Frank Vogel is unemployed right now. So for the benefit of coaching LeBron James, he's the de facto GM because they cater to star players there. I think the difference between me and you two, Michael, is I don't think the Lakers' job is what it used to be. I don't think it's what it used to be. I don't think it's all it's cracked up to be.
Well, you mentioned LeBron, which goes into another category. You mentioned LeBron already and Anthony Davis, and that begs the question. Another conversation for another day or another segment.
Or another segment this show. Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do with LeBron James? Because this assumes that I want to come in and I want to coach him. Now I might want to, but if I don't, once again, I want to know what's out there. He does not have a no trade clause. It's a gentleman's and a gentlewoman's agreement.
You said LeBron does not have a little trade clause? You sure about that?
Not.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't have a no trade clause in this agreement. Look it up. So if that's the case, I don't know what you told Frank.
It shocked me. Why
Frank and them.
Wouldn't give him no trade clause?
I don't know. I was surprised to hear that too. I don't know what you told Frank and them, but they ain't got nothing to do with me. So would I consider trading him? Yes, I would. My man's going to be 38 years old in December. Yes, I consider trading LeBron James and maybe just starting over. The Lakers have assumed that their fans won't put up with it, but I think the fans will put up with a smart plan. If you got a vision, I think.
So when's the last time the Lakers have had an actual vision? When's the last time the Lakers have had an actual vision that did not involve trying to woo the latest and greatest free agents to come in and turn their franchise around overnight? When's the last time they had a long-term vision in Los Angeles? That's why we're sitting here today.
Hey,
and Frank Vogel, as a parting gift, has that 1-year extension. Thank goodness they put him out of memory.
One day a change is going to come. One day. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.